What the hell did I just watch? Welcome back to Throne Talk, guys. This is episode 3 of season 8. I must say, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Before you watch this, watch the 3rd episode, The Battle of Winterfell. Is it called The Battle of Winterfell or The Long Night? Either way, it's The Battle of Winterfell. Watch it and then come back. If you haven't seen Throne Talk before, I watched the most recent episode of Game of Thrones. I talk about some plot points, make some predictions, and give a general review of the episode. So with that, let's get into it. This is Throne Talk. Okay, now my brain is still reeling after the events of this episode. A lot happens, and I want to say off the bat, I don't want to go too long with this video either, because the actual battle itself was impressive. It's actually probably one of the best battles in the Game of Thrones series, if not the best battle. You had the battle at Castle Black, the Battle of the Bastards. The Battle of the Bastards, I think, is different. And you had the battle against the White Walkers originally. So overall, this is actually one of the best battles. It's epic. Now, there are a few things I want to talk about within the battle. The first scene where Melisandre returns and she basically uses the Lord of Light to light all the swords of the Dothraki on fire was amazing. I love that scene. And I also like the scene that follows when they ride off into the darkness and you see those flames get extinguished and then there's nothing but silence. That should tell you shit's about to go down, and shit does go down. This is a huge battle. The scale of this battle is actually enormous. It's actually incomprehensible. I do really believe and understand now why it cost so much money and why it took so long to film, because a lot of that is actually happening. Obviously, the CGI for all the walkers and stuff like that is noticeable in parts, but you can really see the practical effects. You can really see the amount of people on screen, on set at a given time, and it's just really impressive. However, when the battle is raging, it is really good. My weird flaw that I had with it was that it was incredibly dark for some reason. I don't know if it was my TV or I had to turn the brightness up. But when things did catch on fire, it got a bit brighter. I like the contrast. I like the battle taking place in fire. It is literally out of the frying pan into the fire situation that they are in. So I get it. I get that it's it adds to the mood, it adds to the tone, it adds to the contrast. Don't get me wrong, it looked good. But the battle was really chaotic. I mean, obviously, if you've seen the past 2 episodes, if you've seen what I've had to say about them, I like all the characters set up, so I wasn't really relying on a lot of characters to be expanded upon in this episode. This is just a battle episode in its entirety. However, what I like the most, and what I want to skip ahead to, is after the battle actually not concludes somewhat, but slows down in terms of pace, when the walkers actually get inside the castle. So when Melisandre comes out, lights the trench with the Lord of Light. I like that scene. I also like the scene how they stop, they wait, and then they actually just basically get tired of it. The Night King says, hey, you guys are gonna, just walk over and we're gonna get in. And then they basically start walking over the trench until enough of them cover the trench so they can walk over. I really like that scene because you just know, like, there's a little bit of a breather you get. There's a little bit of feeling of success and a little bit of a feeling of, all right, we can relax and we can refortify, or we can just run. And then you realize before they really get time to do anything and actually process what's going on, they're already screwed all over again. You did have those small breathers, but you also were made aware in advance anyway that this was going to be a breakneck speed episode, so I like it for that reason. So when the walkers actually get in, this goes from a battle scene, from an action scene, to a survival horror. And I did hear that was going to be the tone. That was going to be part of the episode. It was going to be more of survival horror vibes than straight out army battle, Lord of the Rings scale battle. But I do love those scenes where, like, the Hound and Arya, and they're all sneaking around, they're all walking through the corridors and sort of taking out all these like little smaller jump scares. I like Arya's little scene in the library where she's trying to basically just get to the other side of the room and she's trying to avoid all these walkers. That was fantastic. Obviously there's a few deaths. Balrix the Fire, I think his name's Balrix the Fire Sword, he dies. One of the guys from the Castle Black dude, can't remember his name. I'll put his photo here. He dies as well. There are a few characters that admittedly don't probably have much more to give to the story, so they do die. But at the same time, I was surprised on the other end how many people survived. And I like towards the end of the episode, at the same time as when the Night King's sort of going for Bran, before he does go in, you watch an hour of this battle, which seems, like all odds are against them in the first place. And then when you see the Night King basically come up face to face against Jon Snow, basically just say, hey, look, I got something else to do, puts his hands out like that and literally raises everyone again from the dead. I mean, wow. Like, if they weren't screwed before, they are definitely screwed now. And at that point, I thought, look, this is where Game of Thrones gets its balls back. I think this is where Game of Thrones literally kills everyone off and gives us an ending that we probably, subconsciously saw coming but didn't want to happen. So before I go any further, I will talk about two things that happened during the battle as well. One, which was the Bran scene with Theon defending him, and two was basically the Battle of the Dragons. I like the Battle of the Dragons. It's a cool idea in theory. I sort of didn't like it as much as the battle on the ground, because when the dragons were flying around within those stormy, icy conditions, I couldn't really see anything. Obviously, they're disoriented as a character, but I was also disoriented as a viewer. I didn't really know what was going on. It was more close-up shots of them reacting than it really was the dragons interacting. Although they do interact for a couple scenes, I didn't think that it was as intense or as satisfying as I thought it would be. A little disappointing, although I'm glad they still did it. Obviously, Viserion is still alive. Breathing blue fire is amazing. It looks fantastic. The dragons do have a role to play in the overall battle when they start sweeping over the walkers and blowing everyone to smithereens. It's really cool. It looks good, and obviously it's a good purpose. Those dragons needed to be used somehow. But going towards the final act of this episode, I really, really like that scene where the Night King approaches Bran, not only kills Theon, but you see in Bran's face that he's just accepted his fate in a way. And he also tells Theon, thank you for everything, you've been a good man, or you are a good man, which is good for Theon. I mean, obviously one of the dickbag characters in the show has had his comeuppance, he's come full circle, and he's become one of the more important characters again in terms of this battle. So I like that story arc by Theon. You're a cool character, but obviously we have to say goodbye to someone at least a little bit important. When the Night King does approach Bran, obviously I thought then and there that he was going to kill Bran. It made sense now, given that Bran has the memories of basically humankind, mankind. He has a lot to do with the ancestry of humans in general, so he knows a lot. His knowledge center is pretty stacked, so no wonder the Night King wants to not only erase humans, but erase all memory of mankind. So it makes sense, and I bought that. I sort of found that out a lot later on in the show, but I did buy that to some degree. I like this upcoming scene, but I don't know how I feel about it, because I was expecting more. I thought because they'd made so much more of a point about the Night King, the past couple episodes became less about the throne and more about the immediate threat of the Night King and his army. So look, don't get me wrong, Arya is the GOAT. She basically jumps on his back, and you think in that moment when he grabs her, I swear to God I heard her throat just get crushed. But when she drops that knife with the other hand, she does basically the fucking mid-air MJ switch on the layout, one hand, other hand. She just drops it into her left hand, she just goes bang, and she gets him, and you see it, and not only is it immediate, he just explodes, but obviously, the remaining army goes with him. So I thought because they built up to this moment so much in the series. I don't know about the books, but the TV series, I just thought it would be more important. I thought the Night King would be the very end, but I guess I was wrong. So it seems like going forward, my main prediction for the show, I didn't pinpoint a lot of characters this time around. Like Jaime, Brienne, the Hound, they're still all alive. Jorah is one of the more important characters that does sort of meet his fate. Sam, I forgot to talk about the people in the crypt. So Tyrion and Sansa were hiding in the crypt all along. The crypt does get attacked because when the Night King raises the undead, the dead I should say, the dead in the crypt also rise with him, so they pose a threat to the people in the crypt. Just shit was going on everywhere, so there really is too much to talk about. But in the overall scheme of things, in the grand game, I do think that now we're just going back to the throne story. The Night King is somewhat dealt with. I hope in many ways that they explain, or they either explain or link the Night King's origin story or motivations to Bran in some way, if there even is a link there. Maybe it's just me, but I could swear that there is a recognizable link between Bran and the Night King. They almost do look alike. I know there is a rumor that Bran is the Night King. I don't know how valid it is now that the Night King is somewhat dead. I do like the fact that along the series, they said that no one can kill the Night King. The fact that Arya has trained to be no one and she killed the Night King, it makes sense. It's a nice little callback, and I think it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. However, my predictions going forward, that it's going to be about the throne, sure, but there wasn't really much character development between Jon and Daenerys, even though she did help him out. I get the feeling that she's only helping him out because that's the bigger picture. Now that we're going back to the throne, she's probably going to get really throne hungry again. Will she turn on Jon? Will Jon turn on her? Does Jon even care about the throne anymore? What are his ambitions going forward now that the main threat and the White Walkers have been dealt with? It's all up in the air, but either way, this is one of the best, if not the best, battle episode in the entire franchise. The stakes were high, the action was fantastic, the cinematography was also really good as well. I should note that on a filmmaking level, it was really well shot, it was really well acted, and at this point in time, Game of Thrones is well known for its quality, and I think we got it here in spades, guys. So this episode is one of the better episodes. We've been building to it. We knew it was coming, but damn, if it wasn't a good ending, if it wasn't a great battle, and one of my favourite episodes, especially in this season so far. That's it, guys. I know I've ran a bit long today, but thank you for sticking by. Thank you for watching. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this episode of Game of Thrones. Most of all, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. This is Chunky. This has been Throne Talk, and I'll see you soon. Take care.